Gaza and the Palestinians. The dogs of the Palestinians who conquered Gaza are among the oldest times in history, and it is believed that they entered their possession before the time of Abraham, that is, about 40 centuries ago, and they took it as an impregnable fortress. Because it is on the borders of Palestine, it is exposed to attacks by the Egyptians from the south, the Amalekites from the east, and other nations that were neighboring them, such as the Edomites, Bani Jaram, and Bani Jaram. And their wars to the Palestinians are the ones who gave Palestine its current title. They had a huge king, and a prosperous civilization that lived for a long time. They were famous for their artistic land and sea trade. The soldiers had steel helmets, iron shields, swords, darts, and arrows. And they were making these fighting machines with their own hands. In peacetime, they used to make plows and household machines. The children of Israel used to come to them and buy their crafts from them. They had boats, carts, and horses. They had a special pagan religion, great temples, the largest of which was Dagon, and interesting celebrations. And special coins. What can be said about the Palestinians in general can be said about Gaza in particular. Because Gaza was the most important of the 5 Palestinian cities mentioned in history: Gaza, Ashdod, 2, Ashkelon, 3, Ekron, 4, and Gat, 5. There was a governmental union composed of these 5 cities. Their authority extended from south of Acre to Arish, Egypt. 3. They differed in determining their origin. Some say that they came from northern Syria. It is said that they are from the island of Crete, and came to Palestine via Asia Minor or from the road to Egypt when Ramesses III fought and conquered them, 1340 BC, and settled them on the coast between Jaffa and Gaza. And there are those who say that they are Semites in origin, and that the Semites came from Abyssinia, and crossed to the Arabian Peninsula from Bab al-Mandab. Then they settled in Yemen, and there they multiplied and spread to the Hijaz, Najd, and Bahrain. Then a group of them migrated to Palestine, and there the ancient Philistines. 4. They subjugated the Hittites, and that was around the year 1400 BC. But then they were retaliated by the Egyptians led by Ramesses III. Under pressure from his powerful armies, they were forced to withdraw to the north, Syria. This was around the year 1340 BC. When the rule of Ramesses III was weakened, the Philistines returned to their country and advanced until they were able to occupy the entire coastal plain of Palestine, from Carmel to Gaza. At that time, they viewed themselves as colonists living among the country's indigenous population, such as the Minites and the Banu Sheba, whom we mentioned before, and about whom we said that they were the ones who created Gaza. But over time, they absorbed the customs of these residents, their language, and even their beliefs, so they became from them and to them. There is no difference between these and those. So that was built. Israel was in the era of their kings, mentioning them, i.e. the Palestinians, and the Arabs together as if they were out of one. The excavators found large holes dug in the ground around Gaza, and in Telephone Jama and the surrounding lands. They said that it was dug during the time of the Palestinians in order to store grains and ship them to Crete and the countries located in the Mediterranean basin. Near Jama Hill, there's a ruin called al-Jazar, which is Gerar mentioned in the Torah, the capital of the ancient Palestinians. This ruin belongs to a clan of the Terabin clans called al-Hassanat, and a group from this clan is nicknamed Abu Ma'ailik. I have no doubt that it is one of the descendants of Abu Ma'ailik. Abu Malek, the king of the Philistines mentioned in chapter 21 of the book of Genesis. The Philistines fought the children of Israel for a long time. In those times, the children of Israel lived in the mountains and the Palestinians in the plains. It was between the two teams. Always quarreling. This is what prompted them to maintain a huge military force so that the children of Israel would not oppress them. These people would not have been able to control the Palestinian cities except during the era of David and Solomon. Rather, when the Palestinians lost a lot of their military skills due to the invasion of the tribes that were invading them from the northern parts of the Arabian Peninsula. If you go back to the books of the Old Testament, you will find many examples that show you the hatred and strife that existed between the children of Israel and the Palestinians. I noticed that the hatred of the children of Israel was directed specifically at Gaza City. If you are in doubt about what I say, here is the proof. It was stated in the first book of Samuel, 6:17, the following, and these are the hemorrhoids of gold that the Philistines returned as a sin offering to the Lord. One for Ashdod, one for Gaza, one for Ashkelon, one for Gath, and one for Ekron. And in chapter 18-8 of the second book of Kings, Hezekiah the son of Ahaz was king of Judah, and he did what was right in the eyes of the Lord, and there was none like him in all the kings of Judah, and the Lord was with him, and he smote the Philistines as far as Gaza and its borders. There is no clearer proof than the proof contained in the story of the mighty Samson and his Palestinian evidence of the ancient hatred that existed between the Philistines and the children of Israel. Because Samson was satisfied with death as long as his death meant death for his Philistine enemies, and he said his famous word, "For me and for my enemies, O Lord." That word that has been gone since that day is an example of the intensity of hatred that grows in a person's heart against his opponent, to the point that he desires death if this means the opponent's destruction. Here is the story of Samson, quoted from the book of Judges. The Torah is relevant to this topic.